Hey, church, morning. Prophet Chad. Any of y'all ever had a puppy or seen a puppy chase its tail? It's a cute, fun thing to watch, ain't it? Little sucker just going round and round and round and round and round. Just going. You often got to ask the question, it's like, what would it do if it actually caught it? Well, Romans teaches that we can look at the natural to help us understand the spiritual. We can look at natural things to help us understand spiritual things. So let's do that, shall we? Like a dog chasing its tail. Number one, puppies chase their tails because they don't yet know better. The natural understanding, a puppy sees its tail moving and thinks it's something worth chasing. It doesn't realize it's chasing a part of itself. The spiritual application for us, sometimes the church spends its energy chasing things that are not the mission God gave us. Arguments, preferences, traditions, personalities, or programs. People mistake movement for progress. The lesson? Spiritual maturity means learning the difference between activity and purpose. Spiritual maturity means learning the difference between activity and purpose. Number two, a tail-chasing puppy burns energy without going anywhere. Naturally, a puppy runs hard, gets tired, and ends up exactly where it started. Spiritually, for us, churches, congregations can stay busy with meetings, programs, committee, debates, and internal concerns while making little, if any, impact on the lost, the hurting, or the community. The lesson? God's kingdom isn't measured by how busy you are, but by whether or not you're moving in His direction. Number three, the puppy is focused on itself. Naturally, the little puppy's entire attention is on itself, its own tail. Spiritually, I'm not going where you think I'm going. Calm down. Spiritually, churches, congregations become unhealthy when they become inward focused instead of outward focused. The early church looked outward to the world Christ came to save. The lesson? A congregation looking only at itself will eventually lose sight of that mission. Number four, mature dogs usually stop chasing their tails. Naturally, as dogs mature, they generally outgrow the behavior. Spiritually, Hebrews 5:14 teaches that maturity comes through growth and discernment. Spiritually mature believers learn to focus on what truly matters. The lesson? What may be understandable in spiritual infancy becomes harmful if it never changes. Number five, the puppy thinks it's pursuing something important. Naturally, the puppy acts as though catching its tail is a great achievement. Spiritually, sometimes congregations can celebrate victories that don't actually advance God's kingdom. Attendance numbers, building projects, or winning arguments. The lesson? Not everything that feels successful is spiritually fruitful. Number six, if the puppy actually catches its tail, nothing changes. We asked the question, what would it do if it actually caught its tail? It would realize that absolutely nothing's changed. Naturally, even when the dog catches its tail, it hasn't gained anything, zero ground. Spiritually, winning an argument, defending a tradition, or proving a point may feel satisfying, but it doesn't necessarily produce disciples. The lesson? Being right is not the same as bearing fruit. Number 7 and the final one. I saved the best for last, church. The puppy needs something better to chase. I had a black lab for years. Got her as a junior in high school. She was 12 when she passed. And I don't recall Katie ever chasing her tail. That was my dog's name, Katie. Don't ever recall her chasing her tail. But from the moment she was able to walk, I had a ball that I was throwing for her to chase. So, naturally, give a puppy a ball, a purpose, or a direction, and it will often stop chasing its tail if it ever starts at all. Spiritually, the church was never called merely to maintain itself. Jesus gave a clear mission, a purpose. Make disciples, love people, preach the gospel, and serve the world. The lesson? When the church recovers its mission, many of these distractions will lose their appeal. You could say a puppy chases its tail because it hasn't yet learned what is worth pursuing. It runs hard, expends energy, and creates a lot of motion. Might even be entertaining, but never reaches a destination. In the same way, the church can be full of activity and yet miss its purpose. The answer, church, isn't to run faster in circles. It's not to create more programs. It's not to do this. It's not to do that. The answer is to lift our eyes from ourselves and follow the direction Christ has already given you. Let's connect it to Hebrews 12:2. Fixing our eyes on Jesus. A dog chases its tail, has its eyes fixed on itself. A mature church has its eyes fixed on Christ. Chase Christ, not your tail. 2 Timothy 3:7. For those of you who like scripture to back up things. 2 Timothy 3:7. Ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of truth. How about Old Testament? Ecclesiastes 1:14. All is vanity and striving after wind. We're talking about a dog chasing its tail. Romans 10:2. They have a zeal for God, but not according to knowledge. So you got to ask yourself, whether it's individually or corporately with whatever congregation you're part of. Go back and listen to this again. Are you following the mission, the purpose Christ gave you? Or are you focused on things like your building and parking lots and programs and t-shirts and keeping the lights on and all this stuff that is completely in vain? Yes, it's in vain. You think it's important, but it's become your sole focus. All the while, we got a world that needs the Lord. And all you're really concerned about is the condition of your building and the quality of your programs. Sounds like to me you're doing nothing more than chasing your tail. I just read to you the natural implications behind a puppy chasing its tail. And I showed you the spiritual implication, and I gave you the lesson. If you want to have a discussion with me about it, I am more than willing, more than able. But we're going to be like a dog chasing his tail, because we're just going to go over these same things. If your first reaction to God's conviction is to put up your fist and pretend you're ready to fight, you've reacted incorrectly. And that is how most people perceive God's conviction. They get offended, and then they become defensive. And they're going to fight tooth and nail. You're going to fight tooth and nail to prove that the way you're acting, the way you're behaving, the way you're seeing things is correct. That is a dog chasing his tail. A whole lot of movement, a whole lot of mouthing, a whole lot of talking, a whole lot of doing. But what ground are you really gaining? The mission Christ gave us, I mentioned, to make disciples, to love the world, to save the lost. Doesn't matter about the building. Doesn't matter about the chairs. Doesn't matter about the color of the walls. It matters about the condition of people's hearts, both in the church and out of the church. And y'all, you're going to have to get your own hearts right before you can ever dream of helping somebody else get theirs right. I learned years ago to be more God inside-minded and less God outside-minded. Now, that means when we hear something, when we're reading, we take it inward and ask the Lord how it applies to us. Because that is part of the process that equips us to go out and help others. The reason nobody is going out and helping others is because they're not taking anything inward. They're fulfilling their religious obligation, and they're substituting this process for religious duties. Doing this, doing that, participating in this, participating in that. But all the while, how was it Jesus said? You're whitewashed on the outside. Just some stuff for you to think about and pray about, church. Because most people, most congregations are nothing more than a dog chasing its tail. And it's Christ we're supposed to be chasing after. Yeah? Yeah. Love you all.